Hi everyone, this is Talkback. Welcome. We're in March, and did you know that March is National Nutrition Month? How many people knew that? And I'm really happy to be continuing my series of interviews with Senior Resources, Agency on Aging in Connecticut, specifically our Eastern Connecticut branch. We've been having shows trying to tell you all of the wonderful programs that Senior Resources has in connection with state funding, national funding, local donations, and how important it is that we get the word out to our senior community that these programs are available for them. And so today, our title is How Food Connects Us, because in conjunction with this National Nutrition Month of March 2025, we have two people who are in charge of the Food Connects Us program at Senior Resources. And so I want to introduce Claudia Mejia. Hi, Claudia.
Hi. Thank you for having us.
Good to have you here. And Christopher Blancardi.
Hello. It's great to be
Hi,
here.
Christopher. It's great to have you both. And so in our tradition of letting people know what Senior Resources is and how we can disseminate information to them, let's start with that. Chris, what is Senior Resources and how is your program in it connected?
Well, quite literally, Senior Resources is a nonprofit organization that attempts to connect people to these programs that you mentioned have the federal funding, local funding. So it's really helpful because these programs exist and we get people to access them, access the funds, access the resources that they would need. So hence, we're Senior Resources. And then in a sense, what Senior Resources means to me, it's been an amazing experience. So I just started last summer, and it's been the best job I've ever had.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's been feeling amazing to help people.
We'll get into the specifics of your job and your title in a minute. Let's go to Claudia. What is the importance of Senior Resources in the community?
So what we try to do is to help seniors stay at home and independent for as long as possible. So we provide a lot of services that are just going to help them do that. We range from programs such as nutrition, then benefits, and then there's so many programs. I mean, we have a ton, but it's always geared to helping seniors to stay at home and live independently for as long as possible.
Okay, and it's connected with that. Healthy eating is very important, obviously. Do you have any idea about how many people live independently in Connecticut who are seniors who need to make use of the services of Senior Resources, specifically the food programs?
So I don't have a real number. I don't have the statistics with me, but I know that among the different food providers that we have over 1,000 clients that depend on Meals on Wheels alone. Chris coordinates the Mid-State Congregate Meals program, so I don't know much about those numbers, but I know that we have over 1,000 people that are participating on the Meals on Wheels program, which is the home delivered meals.
Okay, so why don't we talk a little bit about you? Give us a little bit about your background and your training and what your title is at Senior Resources.
Okay, so my name is Claudia Mejia, as you mentioned before, and I am a registered dietitian. I'm also a certified lactation consultant because at some point in my life I was working with pregnant moms and I was helping them breastfeed. But right now I coordinate the Senior Nutrition Program at Senior Resources, which again, we try to provide home delivered meals to clients that are homebound. And we also provide nutrition education and counseling to the home delivered meal clients and also some parts of the community. It's basically free services that we offer for the community.
Okay. Chris, tell us a little bit about your background. You say this is a great job, so
Yes.
What is it? What's your title? What do you do?
I'm the Mid-State Program Coordinator, or specifically the Nutrition Program Coordinator. So that is what Claudia was just mentioning, the home-delivered clients, so essentially Meals on Wheels, and also congregate, which means that they go congregate at a senior center, at least where I am, and then they have the meals together.
Okay, so some of your work is going into the senior centers?
Yes, so we go to senior centers either to do nutrition education sometimes, or we also do different programs over there with them. But I'm most kind of involved with the home delivery meals. I don't do much of the nutrition education for the congregate meal sites, but that's something that we could all like do in our agency, kind of provide nutrition education to many senior centers.
Okay.
But you have in the past.
Yeah, I have in the
I
past.
started
and
out.
yeah.
She was
Yeah.
basically the person to train me because she was involved in the mid-state region as I went to that transition to work here, and the nutrition education piece was. I mean, I took a lot from you off of that, So it was good.
So where did the two of you get your training in nutrition, dietary concerns, and so forth? Where did you get your training, Chris?
I went to UConn, so
Okay.
for undergrad, and then I went to grad school, got my master's in health promotion, yeah, and then
Great.
a registered dietitian, all that with
Okay.
the
And-
internship and everything.
And what about you, Claudia?
Yeah, for me it's basically the same. Yeah, we did it. I did it also at UConn, my master's in health promotion, and then it's a combined program with the dietetic internship.
Okay.
So we did the internship while we were doing the master's program.
Okay. So you're reaching a lot of people, but I imagine there are still people in the shadows, people whose only source of income maybe is that monthly Social Security check, right? Maybe
Absolutely.
nothing else. And maybe they don't have extended families or social circles that they can depend on. I guess my question is, are we reaching everyone in our Eastern Connecticut area who needs these services? And if we're not, what are the tools to reach them? Chris?
You hit the nail on the head with people who don't have a support network, no family or emergency contacts to fill out on that form when I meet them. So I do hear from individuals just like that, and then I do wonder about the individuals I'm not hearing from. And it's the outreach is very important, and that's part of my goal. When I first started here, I was just transitioning and trying to, catch up to my role. And now this year, I'm trying to spearhead a lot of different outreach projects. So a program to go out there, spread the word, meet people at their homes to see if they need any help, but also try to reach people who maybe don't know about senior resources or don't know about the Meals on Wheels program, how to sign up, what's required. A lot of people still think it's income-based. They think they have to pay for it. And the service as it stands right now is completely free. So I try to get that out there.
Well, so let's go back. In terms of the reference points or the contact points, why don't the medical providers in Connecticut let senior resources know, we have patients, or hospital services, or the social workers, when people leave the hospital, is there a connection so they know this patient is going home alone, this patient has food issues, this patient should be a client of senior resources? Are there those kinds of connections being made now, and isn't that a way for professionals in the healthcare industry in Connecticut, shouldn't they be helping to refer people to these food programs?
I won't speak for Claudia, but I will say that I get outreach, or I get referrals from social workers,
Yeah.
but exclusively social workers. So I'm not too sure if everybody on the healthcare team is involved in knowing about these programs and then sending out those referrals. But I think it would be really helpful for that to
But
start.
right now, sitting here, you have wonderful, wonderful programs that are reaching certain people, but you can't say how many are still out there with the need that you need to reach. You don't have a number, right?
Yeah. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I always think of, this goes hand in hand with the way America treats its elderly population. I think when I was growing up, and when you look at other cultures, the elders were respected. They lived in the homes in an extended family with their children, with their grandchildren. Nothing was more revered than when the elder said something. Now when an elder says something, it's old hat, it's yesterday's news, it has no bearing on the world today. Now that may be just a generalization, but I think there's some truth in it, that in our culture we don't treat most elderly with the respect that they deserve, and we let a lot of them live in isolation away from services, and many of their families are not taking care of them the way we would like, and our government services are not taking care of them in the way that we like. So I wonder, what are your thoughts on that? Because I feel very strongly about that.
Yes, so I come from a different culture, right? I come from Colombia. And in my culture, just as you were saying, the respect for older adults, it's there. I mean, you always have to respect them. And if anything, you expect that when your parents or grandparents are older, somebody in the family is going to be taking care of them. I mean, maybe nowadays, modern society is a little bit different, but there is always that family connection. You don't just put them on a nursing home. It's basically kind of the family is always going to be kind of watching out for them. So yeah, maybe here it is a little bit different, because I believe that since we're younger here, little kids, they're taught to be so independent. And I guess maybe that part, when we get older here, as older adults, we continue to try to be independent without kind of maybe acknowledging that, yeah, maybe it is time for me to let my family members help me out or something like that. So I guess it's very individualized, I think. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like there is a lot of that independence as well, that maybe some older adults don't want their kids to help them. They don't want to be a burden on anybody. So, I mean, I think it's kind of on both sides.
So that's why we need senior resources to fill in on some of those needs, and that's what you're doing. But question always is it enough? I mean, we have a homelessness problem in this country. We have elderly poverty and isolation, loneliness, which are huge issues in this country.
Loneliness.
So, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I think culturally that is very true to what Claudia had mentioned. You know, I think it's culturally through different countries, but you know, I can't speak for any other country. I can tell what I see here, and something has shifted a little bit. You know, you don't really hear the words "respect your elders" too much unless it's on like some TV program from the past, and at least I have noticed that. So it's a bit odd, and it's really something. And then there's this whole thing where the younger generations are sort of pitted against the older ones. Like, you know, have you seen online all the boomer sort of negative feedback? You know, it's like, oh, the boomers are against the millennials, and so there's generational types of conflict. And really, that, I think, probably breaches into an area where there's disrespect.
Yeah.
And so, but you know, I do think people will take care of their family members, their close family members and relatives, but not everybody has, you know, family, so to speak.
Right. So let's get back to the food, though, because the issue is, as you get older, your nutrition needs are very important. And we know that it's a lot cheaper in our society to buy foods that are not as nutritious as the foods that are going to help us. So I want you to talk about that. Just start by talking about the importance of National Nutrition Month. Is that a federal designation? What does it mean, and why is it important?
I just looked this up, and I was telling Claudia. So it's kind of funny, believe it or not, it's the history of National Nutrition Month is not taught to us in school. So I just looked this up this morning. It turns out that in 1970, the ADA kind of
What is the ADA?
The Americans with Disabilities Act.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was a nutrition week that they had set up because it's important to have the public be educated about these things. You know? And so in 1980, it turned into the Nutrition Month, which is really good. So it's that whole outreach. So amongst dietitians, it's a very important month because we get to have fun. We get to do this spreading the word thing. We get to set up activities in our workplace. You know, all of this is beneficial to just bring more information out there about nutrition.
So Claudia, what are there already programs set up for this month, for March? What special programs, as Chris was saying, to to commemorate National Nutrition Month?
Yeah, I think the unfortunate part of that is that if you're not a dietitian, you're not gonna know about the National Nutrition Month, right? So that's kind of the unfortunate part. So wherever I feel that there is a dietitian, we try to kind of spread the word about the National Nutrition Month and why it is important. So we try to kind of create awareness during this month about healthy eating and physical activity. So fortunately for Senior Resources, there is 3 dietitians in the house. So we definitely have something planned for the month within to do stuff with coworkers. And I guess depending on where many other dietitians work, they can maybe do activities at their workplace. But it's also very important for us to kind of understand that this is the month where, again, we want to create awareness about healthy eating, physical activity, and also that as dietitians are the professionals in healthy eating and basically food. So trying to let the public know that they kind of should come to us instead of believing all the misinformation that is out there. So we are the professionals, and we are going to provide the best information and true information out there. So
is there a national something that happens on a nationwide level, or every locality has to plan its own programs?
So this is a national campaign. So nationally, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics put together the campaign kind of theme and all the activities that kind of are planned for the month. And then every dietitian kind of takes on in their own little practice to kind of incorporate the theme and again, create awareness about healthy eating.
Okay, and I guess our program here is one that hopefully will get out to the community through TV, through YouTube, through your sharing it or whatever.
Yes.
To get the word out, right?
Yeah, perfect.
I guess
Exactly.
let's hope so. So tell us. So let's start now with what are the most important programs that you do. You started out mentioning Meals on Wheels, which a lot of people know about, having food brought to the home. So Chris, talk about that program. You have a big role in that in your portfolio, is that right?
Yes.
That's what you do. Tell us about it. When did it get started? Who does it service, and so on?
So I could tell you just the little that I know about Meals on Wheels, which is, the name of the program, like broadly speaking, across the U.S., where home delivered meals are given to seniors. Whatever mode or form that takes, is really dependent on the location, the region, and what kind of services are available, or vendors. So I call it the Home Delivered Meal Program because that's essentially who it's for. It's for homebound seniors, and really, I'm here to bridge the gap. If the senior has any questions, I try to get my information out there so that they can reach me if they need assistance, or answer any questions. But one of the things that Claudia was mentioning was that we do nutrition education, and because we work for Senior Resources, we can do it for free. And I really try to press that out there, be like, please reach out at any time.
Okay.
Hopefully
well,
they understand.
Let's get back to the Meals on Wheels and talk about that. You said you service about 1,000 homes. When I say homes,
Oh yeah.
if you are going to a senior center and you lack the funds to pay for your own food, will the senior center generally have lunch or at least one meal for you there that's without cost, or does they?
So yeah, I can talk a little bit more about the senior nutrition, the home deliver program, and you can talk a little bit more about the congregants. But for the home delivered meals, it's a program that is completely free. We do accept donations, and we suggest $3 per meal. But if you don't have funds, you don't have money, you don't have to donate.
Now, Chris mentioned that it's not income dependent, so
It's
a
not
person of
income-based.
means, an elderly person of means over, is it 65?
60.
60.
Yeah,
Over
over
60,
60-year-old.
a person with means after age 60 can still be part of the Meals on Wheels program. Is that
Yes.
right?
Definitely.
People probably don't know that.
That's actually the case, and the only kind of requirement is that the senior is homebound, and homebound means that they cannot get out of the house by themselves. They need some sort of assistance to get out of the house.
Now, does it have to be a chronic situation, or can it be you've just come home from the surgery,
Surgery,
and you're
exactly.
homebound for 4 weeks. Can you access Meals on Wheels for that?
Yeah,
Yes, it
on a
can be
temporary.
temporary.
And then what
temporary
happens? Is
situation.
it whose job is it to make a determination that now this person is self-sufficient now and no longer homebound? How does that work?
Well,
So it'll be basically the senior that it's on the program. He should tell he or she should tell us, okay, I'm gonna be home, unable to go out or unable to cook my own meals for about 3 months, and then at the end we should be doing a reassessment and see if the senior is still in need of the program or not. But I
Who
think
does the reassessment?
we do it.
You
we
go.
do it.
You go out to the home and.
Either we can do it or the senior meal, I mean the meal provider can do it as well. But I guess at the end it's basically kind of the senior should be telling us, okay, I don't need it
And
anymore.
what is encompassed in the Meals on Wheels? How many meals every day? How does that work?
in where I am, it's Middlesex County of Connecticut, and they allot 1 meal per every weekday, so Monday through Friday, and that would equal to about, maybe 20 meals or 223 meals total in a month,
Okay.
because we're not counting weekends.
So it's 1 meal a day. And when does that arrive? Middle of the day? And what, I mean,
Typically, it would be around lunchtime.
Okay.
You know, there's different modalities. So right now in my region, they're doing a sort of drop-off delivery where it's in bulk. So once every 2 weeks, they get a package, and that could be around the same time every week.
so when you get that package, you need to know how to store it or to freeze it, or is it completely prepared? It just needs to be heated up or microwaved or that type of thing? You
Yeah.
don't need specific, but you still need someone to have the wherewithal, the ability to save it, prepare it, freeze it, whatever, right?
Yeah, and to know how to be able to use the microwave, for instance.
Yeah, so that's a big thing.
So it's a little bit different for the mid-state region and our region over here, maybe the estuary and the other part of around here. We actually, I mean, the meal provider, they can deliver hot meals every day. Sometimes it doesn't happen for many reasons. We count on volunteers to kind of help us deliver those meals as well. And we also count on federal funding, right? So that might be the problem. We don't have a lot of people to actually deliver the meals. So sometimes we can do hot meals every day, but in some regions, we have to kind of maybe do a
Yeah.
frozen drop-off or something like that.
So who's preparing these meals? Does Senior Resources have to have a contract with the meal providers, the restaurant? How does that work?
Oh yes, it's very contract based.
Sure.
And in my region, there are 2 different companies, because I do Congregate. That's one company with Futures, and we do another one called Mom's Meals for home delivered.
Right.
But they have requirements that they're supposed to adhere to with these contracts. So that's the coordination part of my
coordination.
job. Yeah.
Okay, but the composition of the meals themselves, what input, Claudia, do you have in terms of the nutritional aspect of what it is that is going out there?
So the meals, they provide 1/3 of the dietary guidelines of Americans. So basically, they are complete. They are 1/3 of the nutrients that are required for seniors.
And what is that?
So they have to have certain amount of protein, different protein, carbohydrates, and fats. They also have to have certain nutrients that are needed for seniors. And the reason we say 1/3 is because we're only providing 1 meal a day. So if we think that
Right.
a senior is having 3 meals a day, so we're only providing 1/3. That meal has to provide that. So it is good for anybody with chronic conditions, with diabetes, high blood pressure, stuff like that. So our meals are complete in that way. What was the other part of your question? I'm sorry. The other part of the question?
No, I think you answered it.
Okay,
I think you
okay.
answered it. So what are the other programs that Senior Resources does with the food?
With nutrition?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to speak on this because Chris, again, he's newer, and I also coordinate with another coworker the farmers market program, and that we get funds from the Department of Agriculture, and we provide funds for seniors over the summer so they can go buy fruits and vegetables at the farmers market. So usually it starts around June 1st and it runs for about 3 months. And then they get a stipend so they can go and get fruits and veggies and herbs and eggs as well. So they only get it once a year, but it's also, again, it's free money that they can use to help them eat better.
And again, it's not income based.
It's not, well, this one is income based. This one
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
They have to qualify, but again, a lot of seniors definitely qualify for that. And if anything, they can always give us a call and we can just check their income and see if they qualify. A lot of seniors qualify, so I don't think there's an issue with that. But it is basically free money
Right.
from the Department of Agriculture that everybody should be kind of trying to
Right.
get it to use.
Now, we know that food and diet are connected to your health. We just know that. We know that some diseases can relate to certain issues regarding diet. There's always an article every day about this food is bad for XYZ, right? So my question is, between what the two of you have learned over the years, what is the biggest problem of food and the elderly population? What is the most challenging aspect of the diet that people are not following or that they need more work with? What do you think, Chris?
Well, from what I've learned in school and what ties into what people have told me is sodium and salt, because hypertension is the silent killer, as they say. So, I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think that
Sure.
that would be it. You know, they often will, they've grown up having these foods that either come from a can or, they eat out, and sodium's hidden in a lot of places where it'll be high, but you don't necessarily taste it, but it's there and it will affect you.
And how about in all the processed foods? I mean, what percentage of our senior population are eating only natural foods from the natural environment and not buying the processed foods, which are cheaper in many ways and easier to prepare? Just throw it in the microwave or the toaster oven or whatever. What are your thoughts on that, Claudia?
So again, unfortunately, I don't have a number for that, but I would say a lot of older adults are low income. And unfortunately, they rely on maybe foods that are packed with sodium and a bunch of maybe additives that are not great for health. But I think it's also misinformation.
That's what I was going to change my answer to.
Because, I mean, if you cannot afford to buy fresh fruits and vegetables, you can definitely get frozen or canned foods. It's just kind of understanding how to make better choices. For example, when you get in a can of peas, just trying to check that those things are not loaded with salt, or if you're getting fruits, are not loaded with juice or syrups or stuff like that. So basically misinformation. So that's why it is important for us when we talk to seniors and they're low income, kind of trying to get these things straight, to kind of clear all those messages that they might hear from other people or the news. Today, one thing is good, the next day is bad. So we're trying to do that, kind of get the message across that there's many foods that are good for you, but then you need to kind of understand a little bit better so you can make better choices.
How many people, me included, are reading the labels every time we're in the grocery and looking on the shelves? So how many people really study those labels and know what ingredients
what they're
are
looking for, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we need more education on that.
I've done quite a few classes about reading food labels. And the first thing I ask to everybody is like, what are you looking for when you look at the food label? And everybody's like, well, calories. And I'm like, and do you know what that means? So it's kind of basically starting from teaching the things that you need to look for on food
So
labels.
that you're bringing up a good question. We're talking about seniors and the elderly population and food issues, but are kids learning this in high school? Are we teaching nutrition enough in high school? I don't think we are. I don't remember a class in that. Do you?
No, I don't, and I will say that it was a way better answer than my answer because it's what I wanted to change it to. Since across the board, whether you're a kid, an adult, an older adult, it's the misinformation or the lack of education on the subject.
And not to
That's the
mention
biggest problem.
all the TV and social media commercials of stuff.
And it's very confusing. And nowadays, you don't need to be a dietitian to be on a program or on social media giving nutrition advice.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, because anybody can say, yeah, I'm a nutritionist, or I know about nutrition, and they just create their own channel and they start talking about things that
Yeah.
maybe they don't know much about. And that's part of the whole misinformation, and it makes it very, very complicated for anybody
So
to
you need to
understand.
lobby to get more education in the schools. We need
Definitely.
civics classes, and we need some nutrition classes and some financial classes, so you can learn how to balance your checkbook. Well, I don't know if people use checkbooks anymore. There's no such
Yeah.
thing as a checkbook, right? It's Venmo and Schmenmo and all that. I know, but the world is changing. But are we doing better with this changed world? I don't know. Right. So let's go. What about the SNAP? Tell us what SNAP means. I know it's the food for people who have, that's income-based. How does that work? And is that connected to senior resources in any way? What's the relationship?
Definitely, although I will say I don't help people sign up for SNAP, which I think maybe it could be helpful if we were part of that. But SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And so it's meant to be a supplement, think of it like to your groceries.
Is that what we used to call food stamps, only it's really SNAP now?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then, or EBT, all these names for it. It's just essentially money to help you get nutrition in your life.
So if somebody qualifies for SNAP, they get stamps or whatever that is to bring to the grocery store. Are there nutritional requirements in what they can purchase? How does that work?
Non-nutritional requirements per se, but there are certain foods that they cannot definitely get. And I don't remember exactly what foods they cannot get, but
Pre-cooked.
they cannot, you remember
like,
that.
like
Sure.
maybe a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah,
I think.
they kinda get
It's sort of aimed towards getting food that you cook yourself. And so in that sense, it would also be more healthy, I guess, ostensibly.
So no prepared foods.
Yeah, prepared it's interesting. I think there's certain prepared foods, just not hot foods, hot, ready-to-eat foods.
Right.
And also no alcohol.
Or cigarettes
You
or
know.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
But we have a benefits enrollment coordinator at the agency. If anybody has any questions, or they might try to see if they can get the SNAP benefits, they can definitely give us a call,
Okay.
and then we can help them figure that out.
So we talked about the Meals on Wheels. We mentioned SNAP. You mentioned the congregate food service, which we'll get into. I think we have some slides that we want to show on that. Is there anything else before we go to the slides and where you can summarize some of what we've been talking about? Is there anything else that's important that you do that you want to mention?
I think the educational piece, we give nutrition education courses or really just presentations / talks, and I think that's a really beneficial thing. And we can tailor that to what we want to teach them and what they want to learn. So a big piece of my job is having that two-way communication.
And where do you give these programs and talks? What are the venues? What are the audiences that you're talking to?
Initially, it started at the senior centers as part of the congregate meal program, and now I'm branching out into, as I mentioned, the outreach. This is part of that. So I'm talking to resident services coordinators who are at these different apartment complexes around towns, and there's more faces there, more people to meet, and I can give them something to entertain them or educate them at the same time.
Okay. So answer this question before we go to the slides. How food connects us? How does food connect us? Answer that.
It's ingrained in our DNA, I'll say, food, we are hunter-gatherer type, and we're very social creatures. Food is required. We get to eat every 4 hours. It's amazing. So that social piece has always been there, and we've always eaten together. I think that would be my answer.
Okay.
I want to say that it connects us to health. It connects us to our culture, to friends, to different traditions. So it connects us in so many ways, but the one thing I want everybody to kind of remember is that whatever we put in our bodies, whatever food we put in our bodies, is gonna either help us get healthier or not so much healthier, but it's at any time it's a good time to start learning about nutrition so you can get healthier.
Right, and but I assume you would agree, too many people are eating alone. We need to
Yes,
be connected
loneliness.
to other people in
Yes.
our culture or in other cultures and share, because there's so many different foods. We could have a whole show just on the cultural differences between
Yes.
different, how different cultures prepare their foods, eat their foods. Some may be healthier than others. We can do a whole show just on that,
Yes.
right?
So that's the other part of the Meals on Wheels that is so important, is the connection. It's not only delivering the meal to the senior, it's also that daily check on the senior, going to their house to see how they're doing. I know many drivers, they just go and have a chat with the senior, and that's very important, kind
Yeah.
of that daily check.
Makes an impact,
And
too.
also, yeah, for the congregate meals, that's a way for them to connect with other seniors, and yeah.
So, and
that's very
congregate
social.
means different, it means senior centers. What else?
It can mean the congregate housing. So sometimes congregate housing will have their own meals,
Okay.
meal site. It can happen really anywhere that is, I guess, an approved location where people
Where
can come
seniors
together.
gather, where they
Yeah,
get together. Okay.
exactly.
Studio, can you put on the slides how food connects us? Oh, there we go. So there it is, Claudia and Chris. This is I guess, the poster for the National Nutrition Month.
Yes.
Right? The national poster.
That's the theme.
All right. And there's, I guess, why is the carrot so prominent?
It's just basically food.
Yeah,
all
I know.
types of food.
I know.
It's a great design. It's like Popeye.
All right, and here you are. Here you have all of your qualifications. Claudia Mejia, MS, RDN, CDN, CLC. Will you please tell us what all those initials mean?
So MS is the Master's, RDN is the Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. CDM is Certified Dietitian Nutritionist in the state of Connecticut. And CLC is Certified Lactation Counselor.
Okay, and Christopher, you are MS and RDN.
Yeah,
What's
same
that?
thing. Same thing. I got a master's degree, registered dietitian. So those letters could be RD, and there would be no difference.
Okay,
But
great.
I think we
all
like
right,
the N
objectives.
RDN, yeah.
All right, tell us, Claudia, identify at least 2 ways in which food connects us.
Yeah, so I think we kind of discussed a little bit about that, how food connects us to health. It connects us to other people, family, traditions, friends. So that's what we wanted to kind of bring with that slide.
Okay, next slide. Okay, so what is this showing? These are showing, is this a couple? Is this neighbors?
They
They
can
might
know
be
each other in
friends.
any way,
They
right?
can interpret
That's
it
the whole
anyway,
point,
yeah.
right? So they're eating good foods. You know, there's a lot of green in that picture, and they're also socializing, which is just
So if you
huge
have more
benefit.
green on your plate, you're better off than less green.
Yeah, it takes you longer to chew it. You get more time to talk to each other.
It's just basically kind of making it like a rainbow of colors. That way you're going to incorporate a lot of
Yeah,
fruits
it's
and veggies.
very pretty colors and a lot of green. It's good. All right, next slide. All right, let's talk about this, Claudia.
So the Healthy Swaps is basically kind of talking about how you can maintain your traditions. For example, I know in the Hispanic culture we use a lot of starches and maybe a lot of fried foods, but we're trying to kind of think outside the box how we can still enjoy our traditional foods, but making them a little better. So instead of using a lot of starches, maybe using foods that have more whole grains instead of refined grains, and instead of frying or using fats, maybe using other products like yogurt that is going to give us more protein. But we're trying to kind of maintain people's traditions, but at the same time, kind of doing some recommendations for healthier meals.
So you have herbs and spices, to get back to Chris's point, that salt is probably the biggest culprit. So how many people are doing that now, going to the herbs and spices instead of salt?
It's a sort of a recommendation I make sometimes. You know, there's that, or you can just get the Mrs. Dash, you know, with the no sodium in there.
Yeah.
And it's adding flavor, but you're not compromising anything by, you know, accidentally having too much.
And when you're looking at the packages and the cans and the prepared food sections, your sodium is often like the #1 ingredient in a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
Sodium or water sometimes is #1, right?
So I can advocate for having the no salt added cans, or if you do buy it, and so many of us, who doesn't have a can or a bunch of cans in their, you know, pantry right now, any one of those you can rinse with water, and it reduces the sodium by like 40% or something.
Oh,
like
that's a
that.
good point. dilute it with more water. Okay. All right. Was that there's more to the slides? Here we go. Okay, Chris. Senior Agency. You have Meals on Wheels, Congregate Meal Program, and Nutrition Education Counseling. Do you want to add anything to what we've already discussed on that?
So I just want to add that for the home deliver meal clients, they can definitely take advantage of the nutrition education and counseling. It's a free service for them, and even though we're trying to reach them, sometimes it's hard for them to give us a call back and want that one-on-one session with them. But it's beneficial for them, so they can definitely reach out to us and kind of inquire about that at any time.
Okay. So I think, is that the end of these slides? I think it was the end
Yes.
of the program, of the slides. Well, you two are very good ambassadors for health for seniors and for these programs. I wish you luck in being able to access more people, because we know there are people out there in the shadows. And every service that we try to provide, there are always people that are unaware and that really desperately need what you have to offer. So I want to give you each a chance to summarize what's the importance of how food connects us, and what can the average citizen do to help you in your efforts to make sure that the elderly population is eating properly and healthfully. Claudia.
So the first thing I wanna say is that if anybody that is kind of watching us today or listening to this TV show, if they know about senior resources, spread the word. Spread the word of all the programs that we have and all the nutrition programs that we also offer. And especially, sorry, what was the other part of the question? I totally lost
How
it.
can an average citizen, person like me, anyone,
Yes.
help you to let people know that senior resources out there and these nutrition programs are out there? Why are they so important for our healthy lives, for living longer and living better, I guess?
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, unfortunately, there is a lot of seniors that are low income and that they need the food. So, I mean, our program is there and it's available for them. So, spreading the word and just understanding that we are going to provide healthy foods that are going to meet the requirements of seniors, and also that we can help them with nutrition education to kind of understand all that misinformation that is out
Good.
there.
I guess I want you to add, do you have one personal story? Was there some elderly person who you touched with these programs, who you remember, who said a good word or complimented you or was happy? Do you have a story like that?
I don't know. There are so many stories that
I
can't
know.
think of just
Well, let
one
me go to
right
Chris,
now.
and then I'll come back to you if you
Yes.
have something. What do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Immediately, my mind jumps to the Congregate program, because the seniors there are so great. Among the 8 different towns that I talk to people. So I work on working the menus and revising them as needed. I remember this woman, her name's Susan, and she asked for this one favorite meal that she had. It's a tuna casserole, and she's like, "But please put it on a Wednesday. That's when I'm here." And so we did that for her. It's definitely on every menu now for Wednesday. She's the happiest person. I make sure to see her on that day, and she's like, "Thank you so much."
Do you publish your menus for all the foods that you are being prepared and served?
Yes.
Oh, so can you go online and get them?
We are. So the thing is, I know that some towns have the menu online, and I was thinking of putting it on the Senior Resources website.
That would
too.
be a great idea. I'd love to see that. Who doesn't love a tuna casserole?
And I grew up with those, so I love it.
Sure. So, all right, what else? Do you have some final thoughts about the importance of your program and what you do?
Yes, food does really connect us, and when I see it happening like in a community setting, I can tell that it impacts how people are socializing. The draw, because the food is so good right now, it draws people in, and so they're participating in other activities together. They're talking, there's smile on their faces, and you learn about what great folks are out there. Our seniors in our communities.
Okay. Do you have a final thought?
Yes, I
Okay.
wanna speak on the Senior Farmer Market program, because we get a lot of good feedback from seniors that are very happy to get those extra funds over the summer to get fresh fruits, fresh veggies, watermelon or corn over the summer. So everybody is very happy when they get the card. So just wanted to speak on that. That it's a really good program as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this has been great. Two very dedicated workers for Senior Resources Agency on Aging and the Food Connects Us program. It's March, National Nutrition Month. How everyone should celebrate it. Make a meal in honor of that. I think that sounds good. Tuna casserole or whatever, and it's great. So we're trying to let everybody know what Senior Resources does in the community, how important it is, and the Food Connects Us program is one of the most important. And stay tuned for another show coming up on caregivers and other things that Senior Resources does. So for now, see you next time on Talkback. Bye.
Thanks, Sheila.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.